Okay, good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started with some inhales and exhales to regulate ourselves. I'm going to count you in. Greetings, Daisy, in a 3-2-1 manner. And then you're going to inhale deeply and exhale. Inhale deeply and exhale deeply, and inhale deeply and exhale deeply. And then we will get this neuro party started. 3, 2, 1. Yes, ma'am, it was quick. It needed to be so I can stay on time. I'm the one that went over. All right, so there are 5 levels to going from an untrained brain that focuses on comfort, safety, and survival. Start on Instagram with a 7-day free trial, 1 minute a day, 7 minutes in a 119-hour week. From there, you elevate here to YouTube, where you will do extended neural reps, advance it. By the time your good morning, purple soul, I'm gonna mess that up, MKE. You actually, dang it, you were supposed to go to level 2. Okay, got it. Yeah, I like your enthusiasm, but yeah, actually, the membership level, we'll work past that. But thank you and welcome. Okay, so then as you'll see here, you start at level 1 on YouTube, on Instagram, but then you spend the rest of your time on YouTube, and you go from levels 2, 3, 4, and 5. By 5, you have done 307 consecutive days or more if you had to restart, and you start working on the Real Leader programs and the Real Leader resources. Hello, Miss Lacey. And so today's topic is, and let me get a green screen going. Today's topic is, did it switch? We are talking about self-integration. Now, my question to you all before everybody gets on here, like it's gonna be a bunch of people. Anyway, how's it going on TikTok in the last 2 days? Because I'm attempting, I'm attempting to do "You Are Your Biggest Stop Sign," and I keep being, I keep not being able to do that. So for me, I'm like, I just want to get this damn lesson done. Why is this happening? And if it's value added, still let me know, because my brain wants to finish this topic. But if you are getting value, then I will get to that lesson when I get to that lesson. But I'm like, okay, I gotta talk about this again. And I think what's happening is my ACC is like, you saying this stuff out loud. And I asked Nola about this as well. I'm like, I'm saying this stuff. So I feel like we had a bunch of family secrets and we kept them. And now I'm saying all of them out loud. So I'm having friction, because it's the second day in a row that I said these things to African Americans about African Americans on the internet. So now I'm having anxiety about saying these things that need to be said. But there is ACC friction, because it's only so much. You're not supposed to say this about this person. You're not supposed to say that. The narrative. So I'm going against this natural narrative that is those people over there that are stopping us. And to stand up and actually say it's not, it's us. The call is coming from inside the house. I'm experiencing some friction. So is it obvious to y'all? Is my question. Or are y'all like Nola saying, this is just what you do, Dr. Donna, let it go? Hello? I'm talking about TikTok lives. We're going to be in morning mental workout here in a minute. Definitely more value to the lives. The things really needed to be said, Dr. Donna. Okay, thank you, Lacey. I'm settling my central nervous system. I would have, if I didn't have to jump right back over here, I'd have been having this moment myself. But literally, like Daisy said, it was fast. So let me go ahead and introduce myself. I am the amazing Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers, daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and great-granddaughter of Levi Thomas. Welcome to your morning mental workout, where today's topic is self-integration. My lives are sponsored by The Elements. Do not pay attention to this path water. They are not a sponsor. I just like the way this water bottle feels in my hand. I am going to tell you to drink water. When I say that, you will then say, drink water. You will drink water too, because your brain is somewhere between 70 and 85% water, depending on what the research is. But you will become thirsty just sitting here, listening and answering questions as you are called upon. your brain will be getting a mental workout. Hence, that's the title of this live on the daily basis. So self-integration. The core idea of self-integration is the process of bringing your thoughts, your emotions, your values, your behaviors, and your identity into alignment so you stop operating as a fragmented version of yourself. Very valuable to me. Thank you for that, Daisy. So you're going to stop operating as a fragmented version of yourself. You're going to find out what that is here in a moment. And why does this matter? Because a person can be highly intelligent and still internally divided. You said what? So one part of the brain can want growth, while another part of the brain wants safety, and another wants approval, and another wants rest. So can you believe that? You got a highly intelligent person that wants to grow, wants to have approval, and then wants sleep, rested nights at the same time in the same brain. That's not an integrated brain. So when those systems are not integrated, the person looks inconsistent, feels exhausted, and struggles with follow through. So self-integration is what allows a real leader to become internally aligned instead of situationally reactive. If you find yourself code switching, depending on where you are, you do not have self-integration. You don't have it. You don't. If you say, "Oh, I want to lose weight," and then you go hang around your fat friends and eat everything that's not nailed down to the table, that's not self-integration. Self-integration is you say, "No, I'm on a diet. No, thank you. Good morning, Denise." You say, "No, thank you." And Purple Soul MKE, what can I call you besides calling you Purple Soul MKE? Just found you this morning and you chin checked me right at the gate. It's all good. Wow, I like that. I chin checked you. Okay. So Nikki, okay, that works. So here's the thing. You got to be integrated. If y'all ever came to Las Vegas and met me in person, this would be me. I might have on a different outfit, but this would be me. 100% 10 toes down. I'm the meest as me as I can ever be. I'm getting more me by this nanosecond because this estrogen is just leaving my body. So self-integration. Now, my question to you is, and be honest, because that's one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Do you find yourself not being integrated with yourself? Yes or no? Do you find yourself not being integrated with yourself? So it's all good at work, and then it's a shit show when you get home. Or it's all good at home, and it's a shit show when you get to work. Throw in some religious components, some friend groups, some sorors or some bros or some fan base, or you got some people you doing the cha-cha slide with or whatever, your golfing people, your pickleball people. Throw all of that in, and is it integrated? Is it integrated? Are you assertive as shit at work? Thank you, Jared. And then all of a sudden you get home and you being a doormat. Is it integrated? Si or no? Oui or non? Nine or the ya? Not integrated from Denise. Great to see you here again today, Denise. I know you're working with your mother-in-law to get all that stuff taken care of. So I got it. And you and Jared are attending Toastmasters. That's a beautiful thing. Y'all integrated? Is it? Hello? Is this thing on? Not integrated at all, says Nikki. Is this thing on? Check, microphone, check, 1, 2, what is this? Dr. Donna getting all in your business. Almost getting better every day. Yes. Okay. Yes. All right. Today's brain focus is this. Oh, that's them telling me. I don't like the AIs telling me what to do. It's popping up. Y'all can't see it, but it gets on my nerves because I look up and it's not one of you, it's them. There we go. It's popped away. So here is today's brain focus. Self-integration is not about becoming someone new. It's about getting your internal systems to work together, okay? To work together, all together. So when the brain is not integrated, people often do this. You say one thing and you do another. It's the do as I say, not as I do concept. You talk the walk instead of walk the walk. You're talking crazy like your jaw broke. Talking out the side of your neck is what we used to say back in the day. You know better, but you don't do better. Very integrated, but never had articulation for fragmentation. Okay? So you know better, but you don't do better. You know better, but you don't do better. Does anybody resemble that remark? Daisy, you know, you walk past that street food that smells so good and you find yourself having some of it. No, I was smelling coffee the other day at somebody's house. My mouth started watering. I was like, I ain't had a coffee craving. What in the hell is this? It's like, nope, no coffee for me, because there will be no heartburn following that little sip. Not at all. Not in the least bit. Okay. Let me know if y'all can see AJ Kung Fu. Can y'all see what AJ Kung Fu said? I'm sure AJ Kung Fu is probably gone by now. So AJ Kung Fu knows better than to say something to me, but decided for amygdala hijacking attempt. Can y'all see what AJ Kung Fu said? Very strategically. Very strategically. A lack of inhibition control from AJ Kung Fu. Not an original username or an original profile photo. AJ Kung Fu has said, Ninja, take off that Party City wig. Have we heard anybody say anything about my wig before? Or is this a new comment? Let's, on a scale of 0 to 10, let's rate this trolling comment. 0 meaning, yeah, not today. Or this was excellent. 10. Ninja, take off that Party City wig. So what they have opted for is they didn't really want to go there because they still want to be able to keep their account. So they want to still be able to keep their account. So that shows me that they're chicken shit. Because if you bought that life, just type it and set up a new account. But you want to keep trolling this morning. So you were very strategic to say, Ninja, that city wig. Now, we all know that you have to be 18 and above to even be on my live. So this is a grown person. This is a grown person that woke up early one Sunday morning. Trolling was on the internet. And that's what they decided that they wanted to say to me. Go for the obvious. All I can talk about is the wig because there's nothing else to say. I instantly think of something yucky when I smell the street food smell. So that you know that, Daisy, the reason why that's happening for you is because smell is the only thing that can get past the thalamus and get you to your arousal. That's why Michael Kors used to have that fragrance when you walked in the mall. That's why when you go in the grocery store, the bakery and the bread and the sweets are right at the door, so that arousal, it passes the thalamus and bam, you out here with a whole stack of cupcakes. So that's what's happening. So you have to know that that's what's taking place. So yes. So my point is that this was a -0. This person is a chicken shit because they wouldn't go there. They wouldn't spell the whole buttocks word out. They wouldn't put the N word there, but they wanted to say something. So this is a very poor attempt at getting a release of some phasic dopamine. Biology. That's correct, Jared. So that's what's happening. So let's go ahead and block that person. Because it was a bad, and again, Las Vegas is a great place to come. And so then here is another person saying, loving the Party City wig, by the way. Okay. Laughs for Jay. Laughs for Jay. That was a terrible joke. But since your name is Laughs for Jay, so you're obviously attempting to be funny. Here's my recommendation for you as a former stand-up comic, because that's some bullshit right there. You'll get laughed off the stage with this raggedy-ass version of comedy, because what you're attempting to do is tag off of the other ignoramuses joke. And so you said, yes, loving the Party City wig. It's not going to work. Okay, so the book that you can do, because reading is fundamental, and I want to help others and empower others, because those are 3 of the 74 principles of real leadership. Write this down if you are able to. You're not driving, because I want you to be safe out there, even though you're ignorant and stupid. But let's at least make sure you're safe. So, The Comedy Bible by Judy Carter, excellent book. The Comedy Bible by Judy Carter. Go ahead and get that book, and then go around wherever you live, go around to some open mic nights and try this out. Do 5 minutes. Get you 5 minutes together and, check. How's everybody doing? So the other day I was walking down the street and I saw a Party City. And I went in there to try on a wig so I could look like the amazing Dr. Donna, but then I realized that I'm ugly as fuck, so that shit didn't work. And just work on it. For 5, get you a whole solid 5-minute set. It's going to take you about 6 months to do that. And then come back. And then we can go pound for pound and see if you're ready. Okay? And then we have a third one coming. So see how boring it is, ladies and gentlemen? And don't tell me what it's not. You new here. So all of y'all are going to go because y'all didn't understand the assignment. So we're going to get back to what we're saying and what we're doing, but we're going to start calling it Ratatrol. That's what's going to happen. So the trolls have limited capacity, and that's why I want to help them out, because I'm just bored with hearing the same raggedy ass jokes. It's boring. Ooh, throwing tomatoes. But it also shows you the laziness in them, because they won't even improve their trolling. They won't even become excellent trolls, which is the other reason why I'm thumbs down in them, because they regular schmegula. All right, but again, for the future trolls and the trolls that's listening, the best book out there, The Comedy Bible by Judy Carter. Get your trolls up. You know how they say get your money up? They say get your trolls up. Now get your trolls up. We don't want to do that. Did I get rid of this person? And the other thing that I'll say for the trolls that's listening, you're actually creating neurotoxicity in your own brain by focusing on the negative of people. So you're doing this to your own neurological detriment. That's what's happening to you. So when it comes time to actually use your prefrontal cortex, you are weakening it with every troll comment that you make. You're strengthening your own limbic system. So you're actually sabotaging yourself instead of me. So that's why you're going to be at the job regular and in your regular life. And hopefully you don't have offspring, because then you're going to be the dumb parents in the room. Okay. So you shift your identity based on who you are around. You shift your identity, you go up, you go down, all around, because your systems are not integrated. And you feel mentally split between who you are, who you were, and who you're attempting to become. So it's like a 3-way split. And so self-integration helps the brain reduce internal conflict and increase coherence. And so Lazy J was having problems, and Jay the Finisher said, look, bro, it's time for you to go. I'm going to finish everything that I start. Okay, great. You have a great day too. So do you understand that everything needs to be integrated? And so anytime I implement something new, I'm checking to see if that matches. As I've got an Amazon shop and a TikTok shop and a YouTube shop. Does that match me? Or is there something that's different about it? That's why in 2018, I started making my own content. I started using profanity and everything else. So no one's going to be like, oh my God, she was cursing. She presented herself as a Christian. And now she out here saying mofo. Good morning, Regina. Okay, so for all of the other people, if you are not a member, stop typing, because you will be blocked. And I understand that y'all don't have anything else to do but March Madness, but this ain't that. So neuroscience and self-integration. Self-integration relies on multiple brain regions, and they support you and they work together. Yes, ma'am, Regina. So you have the medial prefrontal cortex, and it helps organize the sense of self as it relates to experiences and back to you. So I'll add the precuneus in there too. Then you have the ventral medial prefrontal cortex, that's Uncle Vinny. It helps assign personal value and emotional meaning to decisions and identity. Now, here is where some of you will have conflict at, internal conflict in your ACC. Because you will want to be who you are. And I'm speaking from personal experience. And then everybody around you will be trying to talk you out of being who you are. And until you hit menopause, you might, if you're a woman, you might go along with it. But you can't sacrifice that when your ass is having a hot flash. You're not, it's going to override it. That's what the beautiful part is about going through, one of the beautiful things of going through menopause. And so for my whole life, I got comments in my doggone high school yearbook from my friends that told me, don't go in the army, get married, get a man, you too loud, and all these things. So people have been trying their whole life to temper this and push this down. Patty LaBelle said people used to tell her don't sing so loud. So they're all trying to do this. And your ACC is saying, that's not me. That's not me. My daughter laughed at me because my safety shoes, the shoes for crews, got grooves in them. And I will be at appointments and take my shoe off because it got styrofoam on it and use the lint roller and get the tape off. And she's like, but we just going to go outside and it's going to happen again. But when I was in basic training, if you had mud on the bottom of your shoes, your boots got thrown in a pile and you had to figure out which boots were yours. So I'm like, I'm just not going to do that. Okay. So my point is, you feel it. And if you're young enough, you will change it. And what people are finding now as they get neural clarity, they're going back to who they used to be that thing, because they never got to be that thing. Jared, you never got to be a nerd. You never got to be the smartest person in the room. You didn't get to do that. And now that you're able to do it, things are getting better for you because you had to go and hide in plain sight, hide your books so ain't nobody calling you a nerd when you're trying to walk home, and all of that is impactful. You create those somatic markers and now you're there. And that's what I was talking to Nola about yesterday when we were running our errands. I said, what I feel like is until I start talking about the essay from my mother's husband, and now recently this one about the MST. And the reason why I wasn't telling people about the MST is because my company commander was an African-American man, and I'm supposed to protect the Black kings. Even though he wasn't protecting me, he was putting me in harm's way. But that narrative is there. It's hard for them. And everybody, and so you're just like, wow, it's hard for them. It's hard for them. It's hard for them. But I'm the one sitting next to an old ass Korean major holding his clammy ass hands while he says, Lieutenant Thomas. He didn't really care. He's standing outside the door. He didn't really care. So I got to say that because everybody's like, he a nice guy. But how nice of a guy could he have been when I was his lieutenant? He was higher ranking than me. So my point is that you get told all of these things and then you got this friction. That's why Nola can no longer call me ma'am or mother, because ma'am is Captain Thomas, mom and all that got a job description next to it. And so now you find yourself sitting in these roles. One thing that Nola told me about Tina Knowles, and wrote the book. I didn't read the book. I don't really follow her. But when I had Nola, I had her on a Friday. Saturday, my ex-husband left the hospital to go to his men's meeting for church to go see his bitch. I had just had a baby, just had the baby. And he made sure that he did his Saturday check-in. Tina Knowles had the same experience with Matthew. She at the hospital having Solange, and his ass went to go see his jump off. So those experiences, and then she mortgaged the house twice. I mortgaged my house once while I was married for my ex-husband. And so these experiences are happening, and then you're saving face, making it seem like Matthew Knowles was this businessman. I'm making it seem like my husband's business is doing better than it is. And you start doing these things. And then you don't tell anybody. You don't tell anybody. And now, years later, everybody's like, why didn't you say something? Why didn't you say something? And you in the South, my ex-husband was from the South. You have to have these roles. So this self-integration is not there. And then it's like, well, who are you that you married this person and they not who they said they are? Right. The boy is 16 now. There you go. And so you end up taking in other people's children. Rashida took in Kirk Frost's son and all these other things that are taking place because other people are talking you into being integrated. Drink water. Okay. So as I was saying, you end up having outside sources tell you who to be, and there's this friction, and then the friction gets smaller and smaller. Hearing the friction, it's like, and then it's like, and then you just kind of acquiesce into it until you finally have a wake-up call, and then you do things differently. So the ventral medial prefrontal cortex is saying, who am I? And what happens is, in this fake ass world that we exist in, you actually have to code switch because that's what everybody else is doing. If you want to fit in, if you want to get promoted at work, if you want to get invites and you want to be able to be in a friend group, you find yourself being fake as a $3 bill with your whole friend group face on it. But it's neurologically tasking on you. It really is. So the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex supports intentional thinking, behavioral control, and staying aligned with your goals rather than your moods. Staying aligned with your goals. I'm from Detroit. People like to hit licks in Detroit. People be saying they about to go do this shit. And I'm like, I'm out. I'm about to be a commissioned officer in the Army. Y'all ain't about to mess my shit up. You ain't gonna catch me slipping. I'm good. They call me Square. They call me L7 and everything else. And Nola brought it to my attention. Part of the reason why my growing up experience was so hard is because I wouldn't do what everybody else was doing. So then they was just going ham and burger on me, calling me all kind of shit and everything else because I wouldn't do what the group was doing. So the anterior cingulate cortex detects conflict between what you believe, what you feel, and what you are doing. And this is major self-regulation region because it notices the mismatch. When I worked at Frito-Lay, people wanted me to change numbers on reports. I said no. They wanted me to certify people who weren't certifiable. I said no. I said, y'all can fire me. I'm the only African-American here manager. Shit go left, I'm the first person to go. You're not putting my fucking name on that shit. I'm not doing that shit. Fire me. That's a hard pill to swallow, especially when you are taking care of your child. You're the whole primary caregiver for your child with no child support. You know, I didn't have options. But I knew I wasn't about to be selling my soul for pennies on the dollars for some fucking chips on the truck. That wasn't going to happen. And that's why I said on the TikTok live, motherfuckers is weak. Because you didn't acquiesce when you should have been standing on business and you wasn't. And you weren't. Because that mismatch. Go along to get the fuck along. Peer pressure is no fucking joke. That's what I'm saying. When people are like, yeah, but you don't understand. I do understand. I do understand. I do understand. 1,000%. I do. So the anterior cingulate cortex detects the conflict between what you believe and that mismatch is there internally. And that's why people have to change their names. That's why people have to change the way they look and everything else, because the real them would never. Who you are at your core. That's why when you see people online, and I said this before, showing off their shit, they got to make y'all think it was worth it. That Faustian bargain that they entered into. That's why they all showing, standing, and it don't matter who it is. We at the Clearport, bitch, y'all at the airport, and all of that, because their soul is saying to them, this shit wasn't worth it. Why you do this shit? Why you change how we look? Why you change how we talk? Why you change everything about you? Nothing was wrong. Y'all see people all the time, and you go back to when they got a little bit of plastic surgery, did a little bit of body management, and then you like, they should have stayed. That fifth nose though, but that Cardi B's ass is falling out of chairs from that big old ass. Her center of gravity is fucking off. Because these men keep saying, they got to be bigger, got to be bigger, got to be bigger, got to be bigger. And now her little 5-foot ass she waddling around trying to stand up straight. Now she on the stage sitting on the ground. So the center of gravity will match. All because Bel Khalis Almanzar couldn't be Bel Khalis Almanzar. So the ACC it knows. And that's why you have to do all these other neurons, shut it down so you can't hear it telling you this ain't you. Ain't no self-integration. The hippocampus. It links past experiences into memory narratives, and it helps a person replace old versions of themselves into context instead of reliving them as the current truth. I'm not DD from the D anymore. I can access her if I need to because there's always error and opportunity, but I choose not to on a daily basis. The amygdala signals threats, fear, emotional salience, and unresolved emotional weight. And if overactivated, it can keep old identity states running. It can keep old identity states running. That's what can happen. And so, Jared, you walk past the vending machine and see them honey buns. Lazy J is like, hey, man, it's just one. I mean, you ain't had a honey bun in 4 days. It ain't going to help. It ain't going to hurt. Yes, it is. It actually is, because you need to get your diabetes in control. The insula, it supports introception, self-awareness, and the ability to detect what is happening inside the body. You feel that tension. That's why there's so much extra support, cocktails and shit at your house, because the insula is saying something's off. Oh, I just need to have a cocktail. I just need to pop a little. That's it. That's all I need, because something is off. The default mode network is involved in your self-referential thinking, your identity, your reflection, and internal narrative. And when it's directed, it supports insight. When it's dysregulated, it can fuel rumination. Now, some of you have corporate jobs that are watching, potentially, or watching on the replay. I feel it, then I take a pause. Exactly, that urge is still there. And so there are things that you are asked to do in corporate America, kind of like in a mob or gang. And you can always tell, and I didn't know this when I went to corporate America, but I would see African Americans in higher level positions. I was like, damn, they worked their ass off to get there. And I was sitting in one of those meetings one time, and I was being asked to do things, and my Insula and ACC was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. And I knew my days were numbered in corporate America because I saw the writing on the wall. So when someone tells me that they are the senior VP, they are the director of, I know that they got jumped into the gang. I know that they asked them to do something that went against what they believed was right, and they did it, because otherwise they would not have gotten their position. Now, the lie that they tell themselves is being in a higher position means that I'm going to be able to do more and help more people. Okay. I have not experienced that. I have not seen someone do that and then go and do something else. And the reason why is because you're not that person anymore. And the person that you had to become in order to get that position doesn't have the insula or the ACC ability to recognize who to help. So what you find yourself doing, and I've been on the receiving end of these conversations, is you start telling people how to go along to get along. You start saying, well, if you want to get promoted, here is what they need to see. If you want to get promoted, here is what you need to do. And none of it ever has to do with the job. You need to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and respond to an email so that they know that you're always thinking about the job. So let's walk us through that neurologically. You go to bed at 10 o'clock. You don't have to be up until 5 or 6. You wake up and set an alarm at 3. You've disrupted your circadian rhythms and your sleep cycle. You could be in the middle of a REM cycle to now become alert. And back then, you got to get on your laptop, log in, and respond to a stupid ass email. And then somehow you got to go back to sleep. You didn't turn lights on and everything else, so that when they wake up, they know that you were thinking about work instead of getting a full night's rest, which would actually make you more prepared because your brain is doing a car wash all night. And then you imagine if you go to the car wash and you leave out the car wash after the soap is on the windows, but before you go through the washer part. Because even if you just drive through and miss the blowers, your car is still clean, but you still got the soap on it. So the doggone Ependymal cells was trying to clean through all of the astrocytes and everything, and then you stopped the car wash. Now you're trying to go to work with dried up soap all on the windows, because that's what's actually happening neurologically. So those little games. Go and stand and say these reports, stop by the office and let them know that in your off time, you were on vacation and you were thinking about this. So you're not spending time with your family. You're not relaxing and taking naps. So your parasympathetic systems are all off for this job. And the higher up you go, the less time you actually going to have with families and the more is expected of you so you can make some more bread. That's why people with corporate jobs live 5 to 7 years less than people who don't have corporate jobs. So, yeah. That's why when they come around, yes, I'm the senior VP of the son. Why you look so damn old? What's happening? It's 5 o'clock somewhere. You go to your corporate meetings, you bring in a bar card in. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Ha 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 ha. You have a poor diet because you can't eat, because you keep being on Zoom calls. You got to go on the floor. You got to do all these things. And for what? Especially when you weren't even supposed to be in corporate America. You're supposed to be doing something totally different. But you got that title, and you got that house, and you got that 401k, and them doggone stock options, and you vested in everything. Vested in what? I'm not quite sure. Yeah, that part. So it's a lack of self-integration whatsoever. So it's no brainer. But people do it every day. And then they come home to these unmanageable lives, and then they're ready to retire and be with their family, and all their family have is receipts on when you weren't here, you was married to the fucking job. That's why the mister won't be a foreman. He said, nah, we get paid the same. And it is at some point, if early on, you actually can take on those leadership positions for the experience. So I'm not saying don't take them on because people don't have leadership experiences. I'm saying don't turn into somebody who that becomes your entire existence. Like the 2 people who were mentoring me who left their corporate jobs and then didn't like having the work that it takes to build up a business. So then they both went back to different corporate jobs. So that's that part, because you still need leadership skills. And so if you're not going to be the foreman at work, then you need to go to Toastmasters or somewhere else where you can actually develop your leadership skills, because you will stay the same. If you don't do that, you need another way to grow your brain. Otherwise, you're going to become stuck, and then everybody has to stay at that person's level. So what does self-integration look like in everyday life? I'm glad you asked. Self-integration sounds advanced, but it shows up in normal daily decisions. You say health matters, then actually go to bed on time. Go to bed on time every day, even with this fucking springing forward and falling back. You say it matters. You say health matters, and you haven't drunk water since 1996. You say health matters. You haven't eaten a piece of fruit since 2012. You say health matters, and you haven't had a steamed vegetable in your life. You say health matters, and you don't own exercise equipment, shoes, you don't walk, you don't have an app on your phone or anything else, but you keep saying that health matters. When you get a bad doctor's diagnosis, that's when it matters. That's when it matters, because I'm in my 50s, so I'm making decisions in my 50s, so I'm better in my 60s. That's what this decade is for. God willing, higher power in the universe. So shit don't just show up. A cold, you get the flu, but shit that's in your blood, the only apple you have is your phone. Exactly. And now you delay going to the doctor when you feel pain. It ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. Now they're like, you should have been here 5 years ago. We could have did something. Going to the doctors for the week. No, it's not. It's for people who need medical attention. That's all it is. So you say peace matters, and then you stop re-entering unnecessary conflicts. Don't start no shit, won't be no shit. You air an opportunity. You jumping in all kind of internet beefs and everything else, but you said you want peace. How you gonna have peace and chaos at the same time? They do not coexist. It's not peanut butter and jelly. I'm gonna have some peace and some conflict. No, you're not. You just gonna have some conflict and some chaos. The peace ain't gonna make it. The highest negative energy always wins. So you say discipline matters, then do the task before you feel like it. Yesterday, I had 87 new followers on TikTok. 0 people signed up for a Neuro Rep. 0 people. Asked questions and everything. I said it was on Instagram. Crickets. They didn't hurt me. They helped their own neurological pathways. Not mine, but theirs. Discipline matters. If discipline matters, do the work. I was talking to Nola's client yesterday, and she had sinusitis bad. I was telling her what I do. And she said, every day that you want to breathe, right? Yes, you have to do a nasal rinse every day. And you have to take an allergy pill. When it's allergy season, you got to use a nasal spray if you want to breathe. Otherwise, just be clogged up. Do you want to be able to breathe out of both your nostrils? Then that's what it requires every day. Just to breathe. That's it. Long as you just want to breathe. If you all of that, you're not getting full capacity in your lungs, you're not getting air to your oxygen to your brain, and all of that is impacting your equilibrium and everything. So yeah, take 10 minutes a day and take care of your nose. 86 wow, none. They say you get 100 no's for one yes. It's really it's a 1 to 10 ratio. 1 to 10 in cells. And so yeah, it's supposed to be an 8. It was 0. But it's okay, that's on them. That ain't on me. So that's discipline. So you stop changing your personality to fit each room. Be a thermostat, not a thermometer, is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. I'm not fucking changing for your level of comfort. And now that I know it's the comfort that you're seeking, I ain't fucking changing. Well, your curse words bother me. Well, your fucking lack of discipline gets on my fucking nerves. So I guess we're at an impasse. How about that? This junky ass fucking house of yours bothers me. Go find a blue shoe, a red shoe, and a white blouse in 2 minutes and come back. Good luck. You just start buying paper plates because y'all don't feel like washing dishes. Where the vacuum cleaner at? Where the Windex at? I don't like the fact that every time I come over here, I got to move a bunch of shit to sit down. I don't like the fact that my shoes is sticking to your sticky ass floor. The fuck? How about that? I don't like the fact that you got kids and grandkids and you got a whole 18 bottles of alcohol sitting on the kitchen island that anybody can get to. So yeah, the fuck? You curse too much. You curse too much. All that profanity, all that alcohol. He without sin. Let him throw the first rock. Good morning, Lola. So yeah, you stop changing your personality to fit in each room. Each room that you in, you switching. Would a real you please stand up? What was that show back in the day when they used to have the fake person and they said, well, the real such and such, please stand up. So you stop introducing yourself through your wounds and start functioning through your standards. That's what you can do. That's what you can do. That's what you can do. Oh my God. That's why I didn't talk about shit. Because I'm like, I ain't no fucking victim. I survived all that shit. You don't understand. My dad left when we were 3. We had to move and sell our stuff. All that. Congratulations. So yeah, you want to be the victim. African Americans still talking about the motherfucking 1965 Civil Rights Act. That shit was 60 years ago. So a non-integrated person has these types of personality. You have your public self, your private self, your wounded self, your performance self, and your aspirational self. And an integrated person begins bringing those selves into one aligned operating system. So as I am I'm in menopause, which is a beautiful thing. What I've been paying attention to, because I got neural clarity, is how much I was basically coerced or mandated that I behave like this for this particular group of people. As an African-American woman, well, don't talk loud if you're around Europeans because that makes you look aggressive. I don't give a fuck. Well, if you want to get a man, then you gotta, I don't give a fuck. This is my question. When motherfuckers gonna start raising their standards to excellence to meet my expectations? Inspect what you expect is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. When I'm gonna start seeing excellence consistently every day? When that's gonna start being a standard? The new normal. Let's normalize excellence every day. How about that? How about we do that? No one's like, oh my God, you're going to talk to Dr. Donna, you got to up your game. You got to up your game if you're going to be over there. You got to start using your brain. Ain't nobody, that ain't word on the street. That's not what's happening. No one's like, yep, you know, she going to ask you about your Spanish, your German, how you doing with your homotherapy business, homeopathy business, and all of that, what's going on with this leather making and all of that. Nobody ain't saying that shit. Why? Because that's neurologically challenging. That will require actual neural strength to do that. So what I have been encouraged to do is dumb it down 70%, lower the standard. And that's what the friction has been my entire life. Would y'all like for me to lower my standard students in levels 1 through 5? Would y'all like for me to start going live once a week? Because not enough people. So if I do it once a week, then I should get 1,000 people on the lives. Would y'all like not having neural reps every day? Would y'all like to stop learning about your amazing brain? So my whole life, I have been told, lower the standard, water it down, you're doing too much and all of that. And where did that get us? Where are we now with this code switching ass non-self-integration that we find ourselves in? Jared was following somebody that thought he needed to say he had 55 degrees when the 3 that he actually had was enough. But it wasn't enough. So overinflate your value is what we are on the receiving end. A bunch of fucking blimps for the Thanksgiving Day parade is what we have. It's all this overinflation or this victimization. That's what's taking place. And so I will not be doing it anymore. And I know that I did a terrible job of it anyway, but in my head, it was too much. This much was too much. Because for what? Because for what? Not saying shit for what? 3 to 55? I don't know what that means, Bridget. So the principles of real leadership that will help you be self-integrated is be honest. Be honest. Be honest. Be honest. Believe in yourself. Hold yourselves and others personally accountable and can make the impossible possible. You can actually be yourself. And the more neural reps that you actually do, the more you're going to become, because your personality resides in your prefrontal cortex. The person Jared was following, yes. It wasn't 55, but it had to be like 12. It was a lot. So here's the real leadership lesson. A fragmented brain creates a fragmented life. I'm going to say that again. A fragmented brain creates a fragmented life. And so an integrated brain creates decisions, steadier behavior, and a stronger personal accountability. Imagine that you could take you, not Bridget, because you've been taking you wherever you go the whole time. Imagine if you could take it. They used to call it this bullshit, bring your whole self to work in corporate America. I don't know. They got a new name for it. Same shit, different name. But imagine, if you will, that the real you could go everywhere you went, flaws and all, and have, wait for it, everywhere you went, everybody else was the real them too. The exchange will be completely different. I know this because I do this in my day-to-day life. The exchange will be completely different. We will have a totally different experience in our adult lives every single day. If everywhere you went, people were honest, they believed in themselves, they held themselves personally accountable, and they knew that can makes the impossible possible, then it would be different. But you go over here, you're this, they're fake too. You go over here, they're this version, they're that version, they're this version, they're that version, and none of it actually makes sense. And the ACC is registering that friction. So you do not need to become 10 different versions of yourself to survive different settings. You need one well-developed self that can function across those settings. And I said that if you're going to go to exercise, Jared, the clothes, the outfits, and I was about to say the uniforms, the clothes that you wear to pickleball are not the clothes that you wear to the post office. They're not the same clothes, because they can't be, because you need steel-toe shoes on at the job and you need sneakers on, slip-resistant sneakers to play pickleball. The equipment is different and everything else. So it doesn't mean that you wear a suit everywhere you fucking go, because that's not going to work. It means that when you go play pickleball, you have on the best pickleball clothes that you need for you. When you go exercise, you have on the best clothes for you. When you go stepping out with your family on date night or whatever else, you have those on. But the you is still there. If you're going to talk to a 4-year-old, that's not the same language that you would use to talk to an 80-year-old. But you are still you. You're not switching and acting like you like kids. I don't fucking like kids, but I will talk to a kid. But I'm like, oh my God, I'm your grandmother. No, the fuck I don't. I don't. I don't like everybody else's kids. I don't. I like smart kids, not dumb kids. And most people's kids are dumb because they dumb. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I ain't talking to your stupid ass kids drooling. I would that, but the fuck did they say? Back in the day, if the kids said swassa, you say no, say sweater. Swassa, you say sweater, 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 sweater. You got to keep looking at the parents like, the fuck did they just say? Oh, say they said, because they lazy and they don't want to sit and say sweater 95 times till their motherfucking child can say sweater. So we just got to keep doing like this. But y'all got on matching pajamas for Christmas. So it's a whole brain experience. So here's some questions for you to just think about. Where in my life am I currently misaligned? You're going to answer these. Just think about it. Where in my life am I currently misaligned? And for me, it was not cursing on the internet. I'm a cursor. And I do not believe that I'm cursing because I do not know how to express what's on my mind. I got 5 communication certifications. I know exactly when I'm saying, what the fuck? Where do I say I value? What do I say I value? But my behavior is not yet reflecting. And here's what I'm going to say. We were in Smith's getting something, I forgot. And the 2 cashiers were having a conversation. It was an older woman and a younger man. And he was saying he got his first credit card. And so she told him, make sure you pay your bills on time. That was her advice to him. And it took everything in me because we had to go because somebody was doing fixing my ceiling fan at the house. So we had to get back home. Make sure you pay your bills on time is not enough advice for financial literacy for a young person. There's a whole thing to keeping a high 760s, 80s, 800 credit score. You can't just be paying your bills on time. And so if you say, I value good credit and financial literacy, then go to your bank accounts and your credit card statements and see if that's actually true. Savings, Roth, investments, rental properties, whatever the hell you got, and see if that's actually true. Because if it's not, then either stop saying it or start doing it. Stop saying it or start doing it. And because I keep explaining this to Nola, and she's like, yeah, I just don't get that part. I almost think I'm going to do a live on credit cards. Even though that's not my area. It is. I'm like that. I can make a motherfucking dollar holler. But I don't want to get into this, she the financial literacy expert. But I can do that shit. Like, for real, for real. And this whole credit repair bullshit. If you don't have it, because I could tie it into the brain. So I might make that the topic tomorrow for the morning mental workout, just so you can understand. Because people don't understand. It's very intricate. You get in a lot of fucking trouble real fast if you don't understand what's actually taking place. But my point is, if you value it, then it should be reflected in what you say you value. So which version of me keeps taking over in stress? We did default identity the other day. So which version of you keeps taking over when you're stressed? As soon as you're stressed, you're going to find out who you is and who you ain't. Because that amygdala is going to hijack the shit out of your brain. Cortisol is going to stop any access to the prefrontal cortex, and you're going to go to default mode. So if you don't have inhibitory control, we're going to find out when you're stressed. What old identity am I still protecting? You have a great one, Jared. Be safe. What old identity am I still protecting? And what I realized is that I was keeping everybody else's secrets. I wanted to die with a lie because I wanted everybody to think that those people were those people. And that's why I started spilling the beans in the last 2 days. Because another thing is, snitches get stitches in the hood. From the military, you keep the secrets and all of that. But their secrets is making me neurologically toxic. So you tell me, it's as good as safe. And now I'm saying, but if you've been harmed by it, it's not true. It's a lie. It's a white lie. It's a flub or some shit. Why am I holding on to all that shit? For what? Protecting who from what? Why? And what would internal alignment look like today, not someday? If you actually integrated yourself today, what would it actually look like? Just food for thought. Here's your Neuro Rep for today. You're going to take 7 minutes and write these 4 headings like you did yesterday. What I say, what I feel, what I do, what I actually value. And now you're going to choose one area of your life: health, money, relationships, work, leadership, or healing. You're going to write 1 or 2 sentences under each heading and then identify where there is some mismatch. So today's going to take some time. And then to become more integrated, I need to stop this and start this. I need to stop this and start this. So to become more integrated, I need to stop keeping other people's secrets. So I'm going to start telling other people shit. That's me. Now, self-integration is when your brain no longer has to manage competing versions of you. I keep telling y'all it's you versus you. It's not you versus them. It's you versus you. So your thoughts, your feelings, your values, and your behaviors begin moving in the same direction. If you cannot be a cohesive person, then nobody else around you can be a cohesive person. It's lead by example over here. And Nola and I were having this conversation yesterday, and I thought about it. And I'm like, because I sent Jared some videos for him to watch as he's working on entrepreneurship. And I'm saying, we got to get back to the fundamentals. And I want to say we got to get back to the fundamentals for the family. The family. We got to get back to the fundamentals. Let me write that down. Fundamentals. Because you're disconnected in your house with the people that you live with. And even if you live by yourself, you're disconnected from yourself. Discombobulated like a mofo. So this isn't a matter of, oh, we're going to take over. And I'm like, your household ain't running smoothly. It's not a well-oiled machine. Y'all are just existing. Human beings passing each other like ships on the ocean. So the fundamentals, you'll go all the way back to that. Reset. COVID was supposed to do it. That shit went left. But you can't become the real you. They can't become the real them. So nothing will improve. Nothing is going to improve because everybody has access to the internet. You can see what the celebrities are doing, what your family and friends are doing, and y'all just trying to keep up or exploit. Either way. Fundamentals instead of fundamentals. So you need to fundamental your life. Get back with your family and focus on the fundamentals of being a cohesive unit. That's what needs to take place. That is not the government. It's not racism and sexism and all of that. It's familyisms. That's what the problem is. Start there. The call is coming from inside the house. Go inside the house and answer that motherfucker. You did? Isn't that nice? I can't access my Pinterest account, but y'all can. I don't have access to it anymore. So they told me you can't get in this, but this some good shit, so we still gonna use it. Isn't that cognitive dissonance? Why they ain't just take the whole shit down? They ain't take it down. I just don't have internal access to it anymore. Gotta love Pinterest. They did that to me twice. So yeah, I will not be having the 3rd Pinterest account. I'm not even bitter because the information is still out there for you all. So the point is the fundamentals. Now everybody like, no, it's you, boo-boo. It's you. I asked on TikTok the other day for people who have children at school age, when the last time you sat down and redid the homework with them? Went in Infinite Campus and seen where them grades at? Where them grades at? No, you ain't doing that. That's too difficult because you're not self-integrated. So you got your program for when you're at home and how everybody acts, but you don't interact. You don't interact. It's not this cohesive place where you go home like you charging yourself. The house, the home is like the charging station for everybody. That's where you go plug in. That's where you rest and digest. That's where you regroup, reboot, and get your energy to go and live life to the fullest. It happens at wherever you take your government ID out, wherever that address is, that's the charging station for you. That's where the integration happens or not. And if it's not happening there, that's on whoever the matriarch or the patriarch is. That's on you. That's your problem. You caused it, you solved it. Start there instead of avoiding it. Stop, don't die with the lie. Let everybody tell the family secrets to each other and work through that to recode those somatic markers that y'all all created. Don't have a caste system in your home. You're watching the pharaohs and it's cerulean blue. If you watch The Devil Wears Prada, you just cerulean blued your life. That's all. Just a watered down version of the inferior version that we see everywhere we go. That's all it is. So I'm saying start back at the family, at the house, not the job, not the school, not the church, not the synagogue, not the mosque, not the government, not the country, your address. Because that's the only thing that you actually can own, control, and influence implicitly is your address. The one that your castle that you built. Is it a house of cards? Only you know. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and do our 60 seconds apiece. I don't know how much peace you're going to have with me saying that, but y'all know I got no fucking estrogen, so I don't really fucking care. I'm going to count you in, 3, 2, 1. You're going to sit in peace or ruminate in your default mode network, should you desire to do that. And then my tablet chimes will bring you out. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right. So we're going to do the brain bit for today. As soon as I find it. Okay. Look at that early brain today. The broken promises brain. So the broken promise brain is the promises that you break to yourself. The promises that you made to yourself and you broke to yourself. Breaking a promise to yourself activates the anterior cingulate cortex. Your brain detects conflict between what you said you would do versus what you actually did. The ACC says you said you were going to do this and you didn't. You broke a promise to yourself. Now, repeated broken promises train the orbital frontal cortex to lower internal standards, shifting your decision-making towards comfort over commitment. So if you keep breaking promises to yourself, the oligodendrocytes myelinate and they let the orbital frontal cortex know, don't keep making decisions to update your standards, lower the standards so that you move towards comfort over discomfort and commitment. Now, the dopamine system begins to reward avoidance instead of completion, reinforcing inconsistency as a learned behavior. Jared told us the other day when he quit, he felt relief and he got rewarded for his quitting. So that's why he turned into Lazy J, sitting in a lazy boy every day. The basal ganglia encodes the pattern and turns it into I don't follow through into an automatic habit. It's okay to break the promises to yourself because when you do it, you're going to get a release of dopamine. So that's why you can promise it and not do it because you've trained your brain to reward you for not completing it. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is responsible for discipline and execution, and Miss Darlene becomes less engaged each time you override your own plan. Each time you override your own plan, Miss Darlene turns into Janice, and you can do whatever the fuck you want with Janice in charge. And then the subgenual ACC may begin to associate your identity with failure or disappointment if the pattern continues unchecked. So you make a promise to yourself, you break the promise to yourself, you get a release of dopamine, it gets myelinated, the basal ganglia says, cool, let's keep doing this. Your ability to hold yourself personally accountable and be disciplined is weakened. And then you find yourself saying, I'm a failure, I'm a disappointment, nothing ever happens. You wired your brain for this process. And your brain shifts from identity of execution to identity of exceptions. And it weakens your personal accountability. So the astrocytes reduce support for sustained focus pathways when consistency is low. So now you can't focus. And that's one of the 74 principles of real leadership. But because you keep breaking these promises, you keep rewarding yourself for breaking these promises, you keep saying you're a failure and you can't get shit done, all that's happening, you can't be consistent. The oligodendrocytes fail to reinforce the follow-through circuits due to a lack of repeated execution. Yes, and that's what's happening. So because you pruned the doggone completion neural circuits, you just keep stopping. Quitters never win is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, and finish what you start is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So the microglia prune your discipline pathways. I think it was Jared that asked me, how are you so disciplined? And I said, because I strengthened my discipline neural pathways. And then the ependymal cells maintain the environment, but consistency determines what gets strengthened within it. So if you are consistently quitting, then that's what's actually going to get reinforced. So every broken promise is not just a behavior. It is neural evidence your brain uses to redefine who you are. And that's what's going to get integrated. So the principles of real leadership are finish what you start and hold yourself and others personally accountable. And keep your word. If you say you're going to do it, you need to do it, even if it's for yourself, and especially if it's for yourself. So a promise to yourself is not optional. It is a neural contract. And execution is how the brain learns the truth. So you can promise yourself and say, it's no big deal. I only promise myself. No one knows. The brain knows. The brain knows that you promised yourself and you didn't follow through. Your brain knows because you were with your brain when you said that you were going to do that thing. When you said, I'm going to become a complete whole person, fuck them. I'm going to do me. And then you didn't. You lied to yourself. You broke a promise to yourself, and that got myelinated. And that got wired again and again and again. And then you're going to sit your ass in that chair, and the left amygdala is going to go to the hippocampus. And while you're in your default mode network, it's going to mind wander, ruminate, and daydream. And it's going to keep telling you all the times you fucked up. But you wired your brain to break promises to yourself. And that's why your ass is inconsistent. And that's why you can't do shit. You wired those neural pathways. You pruned the discipline and consistent neural pathways. You did that every time you broke a promise to yourself. That's why I say it's you versus you, boo-boo. You did that shit to yourself. And then what you gonna do? Blame the job, blame the government, blame that sexism, racism, your family. You didn't get enough hugs when you was 6 years old, and the bus driver was mean to you in the 3rd grade, and all kind of shit. But you wired your brain to quit. You wired your brain to not keep your word to yourself. You caused it. Let's go back to the real leader brain. That right there. Now that person is going to go play the game with that brain, blame everybody else. But at no point is that brain going to sit in the default mode network and say, I'm fucked up. I got to get my shit together. I got to override this myelinated doggone neural pathway. And that's why when people keep asking me, how long is it going to take? How long did it take you to wire that shit? And keep reinforcing it. If you try to pull some trees up or bushes from your yard, it's going to be easy. But you get that old oak tree that's been there since it was an acorn, you're going to need heavy motherfucking machinery to come and get that bitch up from the ground. That's what you're going to need. Is you asking me? I don't fucking know. You've been with you your whole life. I haven't been with you for your whole life. You have. You're the one who's going to have to consistently do the fucking work to undo what you fucked up neurologically. Ain't no magic. This is not Harry Potter's magic school. This shit is on you. I'm giving you the ability and the space to wire it correctly, but you wired that shit incorrectly. You did that to yourself. And if you stay here and then make it seem like you didn't and you go somewhere else, you're just going to keep looking like the real leader brain. And I don't care what you over-medicate or whatever you do, the brain knows the truth. Or the dandelions, those weeds are strong. Exactly. Your brain knows the truth. Your brain knows the truth. Your brain knows the truth. Okay? Your brain, it knows the truth. It knows if you're self-integrated. It knows how many times you made a promise to yourself and you broke a promise to yourself and myelinated that. That is a real defeated brain. It knows. So you could be you could be fragmented and act like you got it together everywhere else. Your brain knows you ain't got it together. You didn't integrate it. You are not a whole human being and you're not doing the neurological work. Your brain knows the truth. So you can do whatever you want. You keep your fronts up till you come up. You can have everybody else, but you take you and that raggedy ass brain everywhere you go. It's coming with you. So if it's coming with you, you might as well wire it so that you have neural clarity instead of neurotoxicity. So before I get to these two questions, how y'all feel about that? How y'all feel about you wired it? You the electrician over here with this motherfucker. You are the Hebbian's law in your brain. You are firing and wiring and connecting or disconnecting, pruning or improving. You doing that shit. And drink water because I haven't said that. And I think that's where I'm at. I think that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I can't listen to the lies anymore. That's what I'm saying. I can't listen to what the reason why is because I'm like, that's not the actual truth. The truth is it starts and ends in the brain for everybody. It's not these other things. It's easier to watch history and repeat itself. It's easier to keep implementing those archaic systems that have been around for thousands and thousands and thousands. Some would say millions and billions, depending on who you're talking to, years, when that's not the truth. It's actually neurological. It's 1,000% neurological, individual adult brains doing shit like this and taking shortcuts, neurological shortcuts. So that's why people will not be telling me, no, it's because of that's history that keeps happening because people are not wiring their brains differently. That's why it continues to happen, but it's still neurological, knowingly or unknowingly. That's what's taking place. It's quiet. I got amazed and ready to go to work. Denise is thinking, and my brain tells me daily what the real deal is. Nikki, you there, sweetie? Daisy's thinking. Nola's thinking. Good info coming from my amazing progeny. All right, let me get these two questions done for today. Green screen. I wish to create the highlight button and the green screen weren't right underneath each other because that's how I end up pressing the wrong one. I wish that was like there was another button in between them. So here is the two questions for the day. What did you learn today and what did you learn about yourself? These two questions are designed for you to have the expectation that you learn something every day. You're smarter today when you go to bed than you were yesterday. And then the other question is to strengthen you in your self-reflection time. Self-reflect means self-correct in your default mode network. For the people who are new here, new members, you type a ... an ellipse or a brain emoji before you answer these questions so that you are strengthening inhibitory control of the executive function of your brain so that you think before you speak, so you will stop having knee-jerk responses and reactions to things. You are strengthening the prefrontal cortex and regulating the limbic system. Lacey is thinking as well. Bridget is thinking. Daisy said Nikki is thinking. Was wired haphazardly. Now I have the tools to rewire my amazing brain. Daisy is thinking again. And I'm going to have a chat with chat later today to process what this is, because once again, this is a new feeling that I am experiencing. I have no frame of reference for it whatsoever, but I will find out what it actually means. Bridget said, I learned that Dr. Donna's dictionary is on Pinterest along with the other ton of good shit. Oh my goodness. Be consistent in developing neural pathways. You saying my shit is good or Pinterest has other good shit? If you could clarify my old Pinterest page or Pinterest in general. Denise said, what I learned today is when we lack integration, we spend time managing all of the various versions of ourselves. And you can't really improve them. Thank you for this, Denise, because, and I'm going to come back on camera for this. So here's the thing about those different versions of yourself. Because they're not integrated into you, you don't get to improve them because of who you have to be in those environments. So they stay kind of stuck, which means you stay kind of stuck. So if you have to be one way with the family, then you're that way. And so you can't grow that fragmented version of yourself because of who's there. That's why I asked yesterday why you can't graduate from church. Because if you go to church, you got to be Sister Thomas in my case. And so I got to be that. And then if as Toastmasters, I'm a distinguished Toastmaster, but then that's it. So you never really get to be the shit because you're fragmented. And there is no refining and defining. But if you're your whole self, then now you get to become a better communicator, because communicate effectively is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. That's part of the reason why I go live twice a day and have been live for 869 consecutive days, because I'm a better communicator as a result of having to have a communicate with other people. And because I'm learning something new every day at 53 years, soon to be 53 years old, my working memory is working like a mofo. So when you can integrate yourself into this whole person, now you're just sharpening all of those behaviors that you have instead of putting on airs, is what they used to say back in the day. Nola said, I learned self-integration isn't code switching. It's being an actual diverse person to be able to be in diverse situations. And embrace diversity is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. It makes you human and more relatable to people. Bridget said, Dr. Donna Page is filled with good stuff. Pinterest has good stuff too. That's why they kept your shit. Ain't that messed up? Yep, sure did. But it's all good. Nola said, I learned about myself, my diversity, and my why I can talk to different walks of life is because of my diverse integration. That's correct. Okay. Let me get rid of this person, because I'm not even about to address this ignorant ass bitch. Or maybe I did. I learned today that to integrate is to combine separate parts into a whole me. Yes. And then Lacey said, I learned I trained my brain to reward, not keeping my word to myself. I learned about myself that it's really me holding me back from being excellent in every area of my life. That's correct. And Nikki, where you at, sweetie? And Bridget, what else did you learn? Or was that both? So yeah, so you have a fragmented ass existence, and that's why if you break a dish and you never get glue and put it back together, you can't eat off that dish. You can't wash that dish. You can't do anything with it because it's just a bunch of fragments. That's all it is. Bridget said, I learned about myself that I have great resistance with these trolls now. What you actually have, you going to retype this part, Bridget, instead of great resistance, because that's negative, you can say, I have strengthened my inhibitory control. I also have great resistance with the dysregulated people around me. So again, retype that. You have strengthened your inhibitory to control to respond instead of react, because that's what's actually happening. Because if you say you got great resistance, then that's friction in the ACC. But if you say that because you did it on purpose. So if I strengthen my inhibitory control, I'm doing this on purpose. This is some neurological work that I did. So now I'm actually demonstrating it. Good morning, Haywood. Lola, Dr. Donna, every time, every question always makes me think. And now I feel that I'm addicted to thinking. I learn new stuff every day about myself and others. Some I can't explain. And you will be able to. And that's why I was saying use chat as well. I tell everybody to use it just so you can clear out your thoughts, because chat will then tell you what's happening neurologically, and then you'll be able to use applied neuroscience and real leadership. So you'll have tangible, some I can't explain as of yet. Right. And that's why I said I've been feeling this way since Friday. So I have some time this morning before we have an appointment at 1. I'm going to process what I feel because I've never felt this way before. Daisy, I learned about myself today that I don't have to deal with dysfunctional behaviors. Yes. Okay. Nikki has said, I am a little overwhelmed because I can identify with 80% of what you said. I've got work to do. It's not necessarily that. Do not be overwhelmed. Nikki, this is the highest level of the lives that you can attend. So what you will find is that by doing the daily neuro reps, you will strengthen your brain to have the cognition to a process what's actually taking place in your life. So it's progress, not perfection. As they used to say, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. So that's what's actually taking place, is that you are being made aware of these things. And it isn't, you got to take care of all this shit right now. That's what level 1 is for. Just for your brain to get accustomed to being used as it was designed to be used. That's the only thing that you got to focus on. Is if you go to Instagram, I don't know if you did it already, but you just start your neural reps and you will get to this place and point in time in your neurological pathways and processes. Denise said, I learned about myself that I've been fragmented and didn't know it. I'm ready to work on this. Bridget said, I learned that I have strengthened my inhibitory control with the trolls and the dysregulated people in my life. And that should have felt better for you neurologically when you type that. There shouldn't have been friction in your ACC. Bridget. Lola said, I never learned this much before. Me either, Lola. Me either. And I got 3 damn degrees. So I never learned this much before in my life either. Both of us, all of us, we are learning it together. You have those people who were teen parents and they tell their kids, we grew up together. Shit, we learned this together in real time, ladies and gentlemen. So do you understand that, Nikki? Did I make that clearer for you? What you can also do is take 10 breaths, inhale and exhale, and inhale and exhale. That's 10 significant seconds of silence so that you can calm your brain down and have that cortisol go down. A third thing that you can do is a brain dump. So sit down, old school, get you a spiral notebook or composition notebook and a pen. And for 5 minutes, just do a brain dump. Just write it down. Not journaling, just brain dumping. Everything in your head, just write it down. Set the timer for 5 minutes. And what you'll find is that you'll have neural clarity. And every time you feel what you're saying, I'm overwhelmed, I have this tension and all of this, brain dump. If you're not by paper, go ahead and take your phone. And if you could do audio, this some bullshit. I hate these motherfuckers that get on my damn nerves. Whatever you do, time it for 5 minutes and keep going. You're going to get all of that out. And then what you'll be able to do is have access to your prefrontal cortex to actually process from a neurological of actual strengthened place. Your prefrontal cortex will be able to process was actually taking place, the way the brain was designed to brain. So welcome, and do not be dismayed or anything. Everybody over here wants the best for everybody else. No one is going to call you stupid or dumb and say why the fuck you behind or all of that. You get here when you get here, and you here now. That's the biggest thing. And start where you are. Be where your feet are and begin where you are. That's how that goes. So I'm going to process what's happening, because we can't keep being until 7 o'clock on these lives, because I got other stuff to do, and then it pushes back to Neuro Reps. But it is what it is at the end of the day. This is the season we're in, and this is the season that we are in. In summary, you need to integrate your brain. You need to integrate your brain. You need to stop breaking promises to yourself, because those are the most important promises, because it's neurologically fucking with you. And then between having a fragmented brain and a brain that breaks promises, and that means that you have a lack of discipline on both fronts, now you're not going to be able to be excellent and your best. And so what I will say about the fragmenting is for the people in positions of power and authority to stay comforted so they don't have to grow. I watched yesterday, minding my own business, and again, you watch one thing, they start suggesting other things. So I was literally on YouTube after I sent Nola and Jared those things. It was there, so now it's like, oh, you want to hear about, and this is them, not me. You want to hear about black people? Here goes some stuff. So last year, Taraji was on some show in a white suit with a European-American woman, and they brought out a dance team. And I'm like, her. And so I saw this, and I said this on TikTok Live, and I will say it again. When you start fragmenting your life and you do it enough times, people can now tell you what's wrong with you. And now you're trying to fix what they have identified as a flaw in your ability to, for in her case, get work. If you go back to older movies, and like I said yesterday, that movie with her and Jennifer Lewis and Morris Chestnut, it's a Tyler Perry movie. I forgot the fuck the name of it is. I'm not looking it up because I didn't like the movie anyway. She looks different. And now she looks different. And now she works more, because she looks less like she used to look and more like she currently looks. And so think about that. You look different than you used to look. And I'll use my photo so we can understand what I'm saying. And if you have to go again, I understand. So this is me. I look a little bit different, but y'all know that that's me. Y'all not confused. Look at the eyes, look at the nose, look at the lips. Got a little bit more collagen than I had. That was my hair. This is my wig. This is still me. Would y'all agree? Do I need to do this so y'all see my stocking cap and my thing? So if I do that with no bangs, this is bad. But y'all see that's me, right? Everybody sees that's me. So imagine I don't look like this anymore and I look like something else. Then when it's time for me to go back down memory lane, I can't, because I don't look like that anymore. And it's not because of some physical ailment. Iman had to get her face reconstructed from a car accident, so they had to put metal in her face. That's different. But I don't look like this. So then I can't show these photos. I can't show that. And I can't look back at my old work because I don't look like that. So now I have this fragmented existence because I don't look like that anymore. Do you all understand what I'm saying? And I got rid of the rest of the photos. I don't have access to them no more. I don't look like that anymore. What is that? No, I didn't know I could do this. Shut up. So I got rid of the other photos yesterday. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So now people have fragmented your existence to say, if you want more work, you want bigger roles, you want this music video, Frito-Lay jumping you into the senior leadership gang, all of that, you can't look back at those objectively from a historical perspective to say, what was PFC Thomas doing? What was Lieutenant Thomas doing? What was Captain Thomas doing? What is Dr. Donna doing? You can't self-reflect and self-correct because you're not that anymore. And not because you made growth decisions, but because you made aesthetic decisions. And I said 1973, all original parts, but we know I got a crown, a bridge, and 3 crowns in my mouth. So minus my dental work. 1973, all original part. But see, these are the original teeth over there. Okay, because they're in the back. So that's all I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you fragment yourself, when you change how you look, and it's not a choice that you want. I chose to put these Neuro t-shirts on. I think yes, not easily broken. That sounds about right. So I chose to put every last brain t-shirt I have, I put it on. I know why I have it on. I know why I'm me. And now if I need to have surgery, life-saving surgery, then I will do that. But I will not have physical altering surgery because of someone else's fragmented existence telling me that I can't exist in their world because I need to change in order to have access to this thing. Fuck you and your access, because you can't go back. No matter if you start changing this surgically, you don't get to go back to these things. And so something is broken inside of there because there was nothing wrong with the original product. The original packaging was perfect, just like it is, because now everybody looks exactly alike. But I look like me and my daddy, and then that's it. A couple people think I got doppelgangers other places. So I'm saying these things because when you do the neurological work, no one can talk you that hasn't done the neurological work. We'd be talking about different things. We'd be talking about somatic markers. We'd be talking about pattern recognition. We'd be talking about how to strengthen the prefrontal cortex. We'd be talking about, as they love to say, the vagus nerve. We'd be talking about the parasympathetic system. So my objective is to normalize talking about the brain so that you won't do dumb shit, so that you can actually be yourself. And then we can decide how we will grow forward as a human race. That's what I'm saying. Because right now we can't use this information because everything is dysregulated. It's fragmented, it's dysregulated, it's broken. And now we're saying, well, let's make this decision. So for you today, if you do nothing else, stop fragmenting yourself. Be yourself. And if that means you lose some friends, fuck them. They weren't your friends to begin with. If that means that your family don't want to fuck with you no more, fuck them too. Because all you're going to do is be fragmented. That's all you got is fragmentation with them. If you can't bring your whole self to everywhere you go, then you don't need to go everywhere you go right now. You need to switch. Instead of code switch, you need to switch. Do not be fragmented, be integrated, because that's how you become who you came here to be. If you stay with them, you're going to be fragmented. You got to be who they recognize you to be. If you attempt to go past that, they're going to bring you back down. You over here, I remember when you couldn't afford to pay your whatever. They're going to remind you of who your fragmented self was when you was around them. That's why people from back in the day can't call me Dr. Donna. That's why I don't fuck with them, because they remember Dee Dee. I didn't even pick that fucking name. So if you want Dee Dee to show up, then hopefully you got some photos from the 80s, because that's where she is. But in 2026 is Dr. motherfucking Donna. That's what I'm telling you all. So their fragmentation is not worth it, because you're becoming less of a person. A fragment is less than whole. So you're less than a whole person to be with them. To be in that position, you have to become fragmented. You have to become an inferior version of yourself for something that in theory is going to make you a better version of yourself. See how that's dysregulated? That don't make no damn sense. That's cognitive dissonance. That shit don't make no sense whatsoever. We need you to do, and it's not like when I was in the military to break you down, to build you back up so you can understand what it means to be a soldier, because you benefit from being a soldier in theory. But this, you just gonna have, because even in the military, you make rank. So you're in these systems that you don't really have some receipts on why you did it. That's why you need to watch Marva Collins with your family before March 31st, so y'all can plan how you're going to finish 2026 strong. That's what you need to do. You need fundamentals. That's why. So everybody can be themselves. So even if you're working on it at work, when you come home, the fundamentals will give you the power and the strength to go back and be your whole self at work. And come back home and go back and be your whole self at the church, at the wherever else. If they tell you don't question what the pastor's doing at the church, fucking leave that motherfucker quick. Leave it. Bye. Gotta go. Why do you question it? Because I'm reading this instruction manual. You know, the one y'all said the basic instructions before leaving Earth. Where that's at? Because y'all said this is the manual for this shit. So where's that? Is it the NIV version or the King James version y'all read? Did they add another book? Because in the 66 books they got, I didn't see that in there. Ain't no building fun. Thought we're supposed to pray and it come from the Lord. Okay. Anyway, that's what I have for you all today. I will talk to chat and get more clarity on this friction that I'm feeling in my ACC. But I do know just instinctively that it's the brain. And I can't accept any other answers. All right, I'm right behind you. I can't accept any other answers. So thank you for your time and space. Thank you for your time and space. Someone attempting to be here that doesn't belong here. I will be back tomorrow, same time. Oh, and Tuesday, as a reminder, it is Ask Dr. Donna. So get your questions together for Ask Dr. Donna for Tuesday. All right, you all go off and have a great rest of your day, a braintastic day. God willing, higher power in the universe. I will be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Your Neuro Reps, not for you, Nikki, but for your Neuro Reps for everyone else, should be there by 8:30 based upon the time that it is now. My pleasure. Yeah, give me about 8:30 because I need to do my own brain dump before I get in the shower. Okay, take care. Adios.